Well, folks, we have a lot to talk about. Bethesda dropped the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, and it was, well, it exists. More on that in a bit. First, I want to start off with the upcoming layoffs from Microsoft. In the next few months, Microsoft will be going through yet another round of layoffs, and many, if not most of those, will be in the gaming division specifically. No, Microsoft has not officially announced this yet. However, it is coming, and the gaming side of the company is on the shortlist for those cuts, and I would not be surprised if Bethesda ends up at the top of that list. Let me explain. Bethesda was acquired for its IP, and that came at a hefty cost. Sure, it did bolster Game Pass with its extensive library, but since being acquired, Bethesda has been unable to hit the mark. Contrary to Bethesda's marketing spin, the company has not been able to produce anything of consequence for Microsoft. Sure, Fallout 76 is starting to turn the corner a bit, but that game alone is not going to cut it. Starfield failed miserably and is not likely to get anything significant in the future. Even with its upcoming DLC, I don't believe that it will serve to be anything more than the final nail in its coffin. Then there is Fallout 4, a game that was released over 10 years ago and was broken by the next-gen upgrade. Then, it was Left 4 Dead for a year, only to be broken even more by the Anniversary Edition. Not only that, Bethesda insulted every loyal fan of the franchise by releasing the Anniversary Edition at, wait for it, $60. Oh, and if you already owned the game and its DLC, there's no discount, nor is there any warning that the purchase would not change anything from your current version of the game. The only real change is if you just purchased the Creation Club Content Pack. Of course, that costs $20, and it doesn't matter if you already owned most of the content already, so no discounts. This bundle claims that you get 150 items. What they failed to tell you is that 90% of that is just weapon and armor skins. That's right, for $20 you get a bunch of skins. Sure, there are some quests involved with some of the content, but none of those quests are anything in depth. In fact, you could finish every quest in the bundle in less than an hour. Also, the one free creation, while interesting, is also easily completed in about half an hour, and that is if you take your time. The other quest creation is going to cost you $6, and it too is completed in just a matter of minutes. To make matters worse, the game is still broken, and you will often run into file not found errors, even when doing quests that were in the base game. One such bug happens right at the start of the game when you first run into Codsworth, making it so the quest can't progress and basically making the game unplayable. Even just bypassing that section of the story and going straight to Concord will not help because Preston will just stand on the balcony as if you don't exist. This is, of course, if you can even get the game to load past the main menu. For me, I was unable to load the game past that point, and I was not even using any mods. Even disabling the DLC didn't fix it. For those who were able to load into the game, they found that everything except the base game would have to re-download every time they loaded the game, and if the game crashed, it would do it all over again. Somehow, Bethesda managed to completely break a game that has been out for 10 years, and yet they still expect you to buy it at full price. This is next level incompetence. Even staunch defenders of Bethesda have turned on them. Mr. Matty Plays produced a scathing video stating that even he is done with them. Shortly after his video was released, Bethesda responded to all the negative responses by stating that they are working on a series of patches to fix the game's issues. And where did they start? You got it, the Creations Shop. That's just a slap in all of our faces. Hey Bethesda, how about you start with the important things, like making sure the game actually runs before asking people to buy your crap first? It's for this reason that I say Bethesda is at the top of the list when it comes to layoffs. No, this is not the only reason, but it sure doesn't help. While I don't believe that Todd Howard is in any danger yet, I do believe that there are others in the upper levels that are. That said, Todd is likely going to lose creative control over the IP that the studio has, and this will allow other studios to step in and start producing games for the various IP. Bethesda had their chance to straighten up their house, and they failed. Even I didn't think this would happen this soon. I thought they would do something special with Fallout 4, but they just proved to me that they're never going to be the studio that they once were. If I'm being honest, I think the reason that we got this mess is because most of the devs that knew the creation engine have moved on to other things at other companies. For proof of this, we need only to look to Will Shen, who was stuck creating tutorials for the creation engine during Starfield's development. You see, understanding this engine is not an easy task. It's old, and has been having things added to it for so long that most of the people that knew it inside and out have left the company. It's kind of like asking the scientists at NASA of today to rebuild the Saturn V rocket. They wouldn't be able to do it because none of them know how or understand the technology that it used. The creation engine is the Saturn V rocket, and the devs that are working at Bethesda right now are those NASA scientists. So when tasked with releasing the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, they thought they were going to come crashing through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man, and instead we got this.
Parkour! Michael, parkour! Parkour! Extreme! Parkour! Parkour!
This is Parkour, internet sensation of 2004, and it was in one of the Bond films. It's pretty impressive. The goal is to get from point A to point B as creatively as possible, so technically they are doing parkour as long as point A is delusion and point B is the hospital.
This anniversary issue is just one symptom in a much bigger problem at the studio. Certain portions of the studio have been making progress toward unionizing, and we all know that Microsoft is not about to let that happen. Let's face facts. As a whole, Bethesda has not produced anything good since Fallout 4 was originally released. Even though 76 is finally starting to turn the page, the marketing for it is still misleading. For example, the next map expansion is being marketed as the biggest update Fallout 76 has ever had. However, this is not true. While the update is big, it is much smaller than Wastelanders. By far, Wastelanders was the largest update. This is part of the problem. When you have to rely on the one Fallout game that is not single player to hold the franchise up, it becomes a major issue. If I were looking at it purely from a financial standpoint, which is how Microsoft looks at it, then the cost to benefit ratio is unsustainable. The truth is that Bethesda has fallen from grace, and this anniversary debacle is just adding fuel to the fire for Microsoft to step in and take action. When the next round of layoffs happen, expect Bethesda to be hit particularly hard. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these satellite studios getting shut down. If this happens, expect much of Bethesda's IP to begin being distributed to other studios, possibly even an outside studio that is not owned by Microsoft. As I said in a previous video, Microsoft is now in the find out phase of its fuck around and find out philosophy. I know that I'm being harsh, but the reason is that companies only respond appropriately when we hurt their bottom line. If Bethesda's behavior and lackluster products have proven anything, it's that they are lost and no longer capable of producing games that capture us and allow us to live in the worlds they create. Mr. Matty Plays said it best when he said that he feels he has wasted so much time on their games when he could have been playing other really great games. I find myself in that same situation. Bethesda has disappointed me to the point where I can no longer trust that they are even capable of making games that are enjoyable anymore. I fear that the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be just as sloppy as Starfield and the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. I wish I could get excited for their games again, but sadly those days are long gone. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. While you're at it, like, subscribe, and share. And as always, I'm just glad you stopped by, and I'll see you in the next one.